Hi manifestors. So this video today will be a two-step process to delete your past. This is for you if you're the kind of person who just does not believe that you can have the things that you deserve in life, and that you don't believe it because you've had experiences in life that tell you that you're not the kind of person who can achieve the thing, or that you're not the kind of person who should be allowed to have the thing. um, if life itself has told you in so many ways that you cannot have the thing, but your heart still wants the thing. Doesn't matter what the thing is, but whatever it is, it's keeping you up at night because you can't stop wanting it. If that's you, then keep listening because this will be for you and hopefully it will be very helpful. So let me tell you why. There's always, when you desire something so deeply, it is proof that you can have it, because because you just can. When you desire, like if it was impossible, and this is like a principle just from the science of getting rich, where it says if there was no power to do a thing, there would never be any desire to do it. If there's a part of you as a human being who desires something, like, who is anyone to tell you that you can't have it? We're human beings. We are in physical and spiritual reality. We exist in both worlds at the same time. You may need to rewrite the entire code of your entire physical reality in order to get the thing that you are wanting that's impossible, but you can do that. You can rewrite the entire code of your physical reality, and that will be what you do in this process. So, we, as I mentioned before, as human beings, we exist in the physical and the material world. At the same time, we exist in the realm of consciousness and thought. So thoughts become things. As a human being, we're an extremely complex, like, ecosystem of thoughts and chemicals and electrical signals and all kinds of fun things that are going on within our human body, our human consciousness. Um, when you're watching, for example, the Olympics, and they interview the athletes, you always hear them say, you always hear the winner say something to the effect of, I was focused on making that catch. I was focused on making that shot. I was focused on, like, sticking that landing. You never hear them say, I just wanted to see what was going to happen. I was winging it. Like, I just wanted to see if it would work. Like, you rarely hear that, because what we practice, and like what your mind focuses on, is much more likely to be brought into being. Everybody knows someone who is a chronic complainer, who's always talking about what goes wrong in the world. And no matter how much you try to tell that person that they actually could achieve the really easy thing that they're asking you about if they would just, like, do one very simple thing that is simple to you, but they are never going to get it no matter how many times you tell them. Like, everyone knows someone like that. Like, you've seen people create their own misery. You have definitely seen that. And you can create your own happiness just as well as a person can create their own misery. So let's say, for an example, that you are 15 years old, you're in high school, and you want to shoot your shot with that cute person that you like in your class. Now, you've never done it before. You've never thought about doing it before. The world is full of possibilities. You're 15, you don't know what you're doing, but you know that you want to go for it. Anything can happen. So can you remember what you felt like before you asked that person out, or before you, like, smiled at that person? Can you remember what you felt like? Great. Now let's say that you did it, and let's say that it went really, really well. Let's say that person liked you back, and then you started seeing each other, you stayed together, you always loved each other, you made time for each other, and then after you graduated from college, that you got married and you started a family together. If, God forbid, if something were to happen, that person died suddenly, and after your mourning period you had to get back into the scene and you wanted a partner again, how would you feel about shooting your shot with the next person? You probably feel pretty good. You probably feel pretty confident. You did have a tragedy happen, but the majority of your past experience is very positive with that person that you had this wonderful love relationship with for many years. You would feel probably no trepidation about like getting back in the saddle and asking the next person again. But let's rewind back, and let's say that you're 15 years old, you're asking this person out. Let's say it didn't go well. Let's say it went horrible. Let's say that person laughed in your face. Let's say they insulted you, they insulted your mother, they told everyone in the school what happened. Let's say everyone laughed at you, everyone started making fun of you, everyone started terrorizing you. And let's say that like you had to change schools, and then the next school, like you ask another person out, and the same thing happens again. So, and let's say that this just kept happening, like you just different variations on rejection, different variations on betrayal. Maybe you got in a relationship and the person was horribly abusive, maybe and then you, or maybe you got in a relationship and they used you and they manipulated you, and they just, like, you've experienced all of the things that can go wrong. And do you think that person is going to want to shoot their shot with the next person? Do you think that person is going to want to, and like even if that person has a very deep desire for companionship, how easy do you think it's going to be for you if you're in that situation to like put up a profile on Tinder, ask a person out? It's not going to be easy. Everything in your mind is going to be telling you like this is not a good idea, this is a disaster, it's not going to work, it's going to hurt you, it's going to be more trouble than it's worth. And you're not going to want to do it. You're not going to want to take action. You're going to get a cat, and there's nothing wrong with getting a cat. Like, and being being single with a cat is actually really, really nice. So like, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's like, if that's not what you want, then then you're being prevented from going after something that you wanted because of something that happened in the past. So if you want to get from that state of mind, from the state of mind of being bruised, battered, and abused by life, discouraged, back to that state of mind where you were when the world was full of possibilities, let me tell you how to do it, because I just did it last night. Last night I think it was when that happened. So I'm going to explain how I did it from my own kind of spiritual perspective, but I'm going to try to do it generally enough so that you can still do it. You can translate it into more like terms that will work for you if you're a different religion, if you're a different faith, or no religion. Human beings are all capable of doing this. So I realized that I had a failure consciousness, and it was very similar to the example that I just used about the like whole relationship and dating game. I don't like the opposite sex very much. I have like a very long history of not liking them very much, because I have a kind of bad history of like things that have happened in the past with men, with relationships. It's not really easier with women either, so just you can use this for anything. But things like in the last several years, I at least made some like really good friends. And so I know that dealing with a male person is not always going to be a disaster, but my programming is telling me that nothing good can ever come of it. So I was like, well, like I do want to like get settled down one day and make that thing happen. So how do I get to a place where I can even believe that that's possible, where I can believe that that it's not going to be a disaster? And my whole thing was that I believed that because of what I look like as a person, like physically, that was the barrier. That was what was causing me to have all these bad experiences, is what I looked like, which doesn't make any sense, because like I had the worst experiences like when I was young. Like I was like, and so it's like you would think that as I got older, like they say, when you get older you're less desirable. I don't believe that's true, but like if it were true, wouldn't I be having worse experiences now at like a fully like well into adulthood age than I was having at 16, when you're supposed to be at your prime, like physically. Like that doesn't make sense to me. So I knew that there was something that was off. I knew that something in my programming was not right. So I was trying to, how do I correct that programming? Um, so I went to meditate. And when I went to meditate, and I guess it's a 3-step process, and I guess step one is the meditating to begin with. And I saw this vision of like, it was a black woman who was also a queen bee, and she was rising up from like this high school basement, and she was ruling the world. So I guess I saw Beyonce, something like that. And I was like, yeah, okay, like I can see the idea here. I can see the idea that any woman should be able to be the queen in her own world of humanity. And but I'm like, but there's a problem here. Like, I'm not Beyonce, I'm just an ordinary person. Like, here are all the things that are wrong with me. And as I saw myself doing that, I'm like, okay, at that moment I had a choice. So I could choose to continue to tell God what's wrong with me, and like why I can't do the things that God is telling me. Like, I could continue to have that argument, or I could decide that no, I'm going to like put aside what my thoughts are and put aside what my mind is telling me, and I can listen to accept a new perspective that is coming from my higher self. So that's a decision. So like, you have the vision is the first step. You make the decision to align with the vision is the second step. You align yourself with your highest vision. So then there was a problem still, because I'm like, well, I can see that image of this like celebrity type of woman, but I don't know how to be that kind of person. And so if you don't know how, that's the second step. If you don't know what to do, you ask for help. Ask your mom, ask your friends, ask your boss, ask your higher self. I think that if you don't, because a lot of the times you don't have someone in your life that has what you want. If you have someone in your life that has what you want and can tell you how to get it, great. A lot of the times you don't have someone. You can look for someone, or you can ask your internal guidance. You can ask your higher self. You can ask God. That is what that is tends to be my go-to. I will ask people. That's not a thing that I don't do, but like, always ask God first, or try to ask God first. So I would just ask, how do I make this happen? How, like, what am I missing? What am I not seeing? And so when I did that, um, I knew that I was going to get an answer, because I have been praying for a long time and getting answers for a long time. Now, with that in mind, I want to say that if you've never done this before, and like have never like gotten an answer to prayer, never believed that that was possible, then what you want to do is just stay and hang in there until you get that answer. And it may seem like you're waiting for a long time. To just keep asking. Ask every day. Ask like every hour. You'll hear something eventually, and probably sooner than later. You'll hear something back, and when you hear something back, you'll be like, what the hell? What just happened? And like, when it happened to me for the first time, I freaked out, and I didn't pray again for like 6 years after that. I don't recommend that, because whatever you hear back, even though it's like really terrifying to hear it back for the first time, it is meant for your good. It is meant to get you onto the right path for your own life. So I would listen to it. And if it scares you, just ask again. Like, ask, like, what is the purpose of this? What is this for? Are you on my side? Whatever fear that you have with relation to talking to the universe, it is scary. I mean, someone who's that much bigger, that much more powerful than you, it is scary. So I would keep asking, because you can keep asking. There's no point at which, when you're praying to God, that God will say, no, stop talking to me, I'm not going to help you. That never happens. So you can always keep asking. So that's what I'm saying there. So I knew that when I asked, how do I do this, that I would get an answer. And when I was meditating, the next scene that I saw was, it was in a high school principal's office, and there were angels in schoolgirl dresses, and they were like going through all the files and like deleting all the bad files that were about me. And I was like, okay, like I can live with this. So then I don't know what happened. Like I had that vision. I was like, I tend to pray and meditate like lying in bed, like that's where that happens. And so I like open my eyes and I'm like kind of scanning my body, seeing what's up, and I'm trying to interpret this vision. And I realized it's like I don't feel like someone who has a bad history anymore. I don't feel like someone who has a painful past. I don't feel like someone who's been through hell in relationships, even though I have been through hell. But I don't feel like it. I don't feel any of it. None of the hell is in my consciousness right now. And I'm, it's like I was thinking that I could never like be loved because of what I look like. I look exactly the same as I did in the last video that I made, where I was thinking that those thoughts were definitely, I can guarantee you that was on my mind when I made that video. But I don't feel any of that now. I don't feel like that's a barrier. I don't feel like it's a barrier. I feel like I'm a barrier. I mean, I feel like the fact that tonight I'm going to go to the grocery store and spend my time wandering around the aisles of the grocery store and not make a Tinder profile, like not do any of the actions to go out there, but like that is because that's what I want to do. Like I want to hang out in the grocery store, and that's what's going to happen. We can burn that bridge when we come to it. If I want to really like put a higher degree of focus on that area of my life and put more intentionality into it, I could like turn around and ask the universe again, like, how am I going to make this happen? Right now, I want to attack a few other things first. We may come back around to the relationship thing again, but I'm hoping that this at least helps you understand the process. So it's like if you have a vision and you cannot see yourself receiving it, like you decide to align yourself with I can have it. You align yourself with the higher reality. And then if you don't know how to get it, you ask internal guidance how to get it. Like lather, rinse, repeat until you're like happily married or a millionaire or whatever you want. Have that dream house. But that's the process. That's how you do it. So I hope that helps. Happy manifesting, and I will see you the next time. Bye.